I haven't even started yet. I already got an applause. That's pretty cool. First of all, I want to thank Sirona for having me here today. It's great to see all of you guys. I feel like looking through the crowd, I know most of you, and that's from social media and Facebook and things like that, which is really cool. So it's great seeing you all. My name is Jay Black, lab in Orlando. He already went over that. At my lab, I have 2 MCXLs, 2 MCX5s, INEOS X5 scanner, and OmniCam. That's just kind of a background of what I have. My goal here today is to briefly run down my experience with the inLab 15 software. It's what all of you, what I've been asking for a long time. We always wanted certain things, and finally I think we got them, so we don't have to change systems. We can do everything in our system alone. So I'm just going to briefly go over what I like, what I thought is really interesting, and kind of some just how the inLab 15 software works. First of all, it has a new look. It has a gray background. It's very cool when you're scanning with the INEOS X5 scanner. You go to the model axis step, or actually it already brings everything, the buckle bite correlated. You don't have to set the buckle bite yourself. It just automatically is there. Next, you'll come to the model axis step. This is a little bit different. The whole goal of this new software is to make our lives easier. And a lot of times in the past, we'd get a proposal that was just out of whack, and you're like, you know, isn't this supposed to be a lot closer than it already is? So in the very beginning, in the set model axis step, that is what you're doing. You're telling the software, hey, here's where all the teeth are. We have these little blue dots that are over the tooth numbers. So if you're doing, I can't read from this far away, but let's say you're doing number 7 and 8, you'll have a little number 7 and 8. What you're going to do is place it over your prep. And what happens when you arrow forward, it automatically, like Jörg said, is it trims out your die for you, so you don't have to waste your 4 clicks on that. Then it'll draw the margin for you, so you don't have to waste your clicks on that. And then what you'll do is you'll adjust that margin. It's never going to be perfect. Sometimes it is. If it's perfect, you don't have to do anything, but if it's not, double check, your margin's good, you can arrow forward. What you're also doing in this step is you're telling the software approximately where you're going to propose your crowns. All right, again, it'll go ahead and draw your margin. There'll be another green line on that area. What happens in between the green and blue, there's no spacer, and you can adjust these settings as well in the parameters, or you can actually redraw that green line. BioJaw, this is a very big part of the software like Jörg was talking about. Number one, all of my proposals are so much better in the 15 than the 4.3. If I was going to mill out a zirconia full contour on the MCX5 from the 4.3, it mills out okay. But now just getting a new proposal with inLab 15, it actually looks like a tooth. So big difference on the anatomy just from biogeneric. I don't know what they did to it, but it's really nice right now. And that's without even using BioJaw. What BioJaw is if you have multiple units, pretty much you're telling the software ahead of time how you want your teeth to be positioned. Like sometimes, let's say you're doing 6 to 11 with the old software, you get a crazy proposal where teeth are going all different directions, and then you would click on unadapted, fix each one. Pretty much what you're doing now is ahead of time you're using unadapted, saying, hey, I want you to position these 6 crowns in this area, and then give me a proposal. What's also different about BioJaw is you can choose the tooth morphology. So you can just use biogeneric like normal, which you'll look at the teeth next to it and you'll get a proposal, or you can choose the morphology. So there's a few catalogs right now that we have, Vita, Mertz, and one, I forgot the other one already. One other one we can choose from. They'll have more in the future. What I've been doing is for my posteriors, I just use normal biogeneric because it gives a really nice proposal now compared to what it was before. It's even better. But for my anteriors, I will choose one of the catalogs instead. I'll choose the Mertz catalog is really nice, has really cool anatomy. So that's the first step. You choose what type of morphology you want. If you're doing a single crown, you just breeze by all this stuff. But if you're doing multiple units, then you'll actually pay attention to what's going on right here. It's very cool because if you're doing a full upper and full lower, you can bring all of the teeth up at one time. Next step is positioning. So what you're doing here, let's say you're doing 6 to 11, and you want a perfectly symmetrical 6 to 11. So you want them all to be perfect. All you'll have to do is click on positioning, position them into place. There's another tool up here called harmonic positioning. What that does is it makes a perfect 6 to 11, and then you can adjust them from there as well. Because sometimes we're doing biogeneric, it like makes one bigger than the other, but with harmonic positioning, you can make them all the same size. Then the most important step at the top, it says adapted proposal. If you want it to look exactly like this picture right here, then you would not check that box. Because you're saying, hey, I want it to propose exactly like this. I put them in the position I want, and it'll propose exactly like that symmetrical. If you click on that box, adapted proposal, then it will give context on the mesial distal, on the occlusal. It'll take the minimal thickness into account. So for all my bigger cases, I will not check this box up top. For all the smaller cases, I will check the box. Mouseover Tools, this is a big time saver. What that means is, this is a case I did the other day. Literally, you put your cursor over the number 9 right there, and then move it to number 10, then 11, and you don't have to actually double click on the tooth to activate the tools. So you can just have your circular 2 direction the whole time. You know, I can go straight from number 2 to number 8, and I don't have to double click to activate the tool. So it saves a lot of time working on bigger cases. If you want to activate more than one crown at the same time, just like the Windows version, you hit Control, click on number 8, 9, 10, 11, and then they're all grouped together, and then you can pull and move all in different directions. And this particular case was my first big case that I ever used with the software. I used that Mertz Artegral type of morphology that was in there. And what I do for all my big cases, I'll mill them out of temporary material first. That way I can charge the dentist for a full temporary, plus they can try it in, make sure the margins are good, occlusion's good, bite is right. So I milled this out of a Harvest ZCAD Temp Aesthetic. They'll go ahead and try it in. This particular case, everything went good, so all I had to do is really reheat mill and milled it out of zirconia. If the bite was off or something like that, then I'd have to rescan, but this particular one, it was, he said adjust, I think number 4 or something was too high or something, but just remilled out of zirconia, so that's what I did. I don't have the picture, I don't know why, in there of the final product. I guess I forgot to put it in there, but anyways. Next, virtual seat. This is really cool. I've been wanting this for a long time. It has many opportunities. What virtual seat is let's say we're doing number 8 and 9. You design number 9. You can virtually seat number 9 into the model and then go do number 8. It's what we used to do with the 3.8 software a long time ago. But now it has some more options. Like I was talking with a dental technician earlier, and they were saying, hey, you know, I wish we could make a night guard over these veneers that we're doing. Well, all you have to do now is just go ahead and design 6 through 11, and then virtually seat them, and then print out the model, and then make a night guard. So there's just different applications that you can do. This particular case was the first time I ever used virtual seat. The doctor sent a Strona Connect case to me, and he wanted a roundhouse. And I know you're not supposed to splint implants with other preps, but I didn't care. He just said, this is what I want, so that's what I was going to do. So what he wanted first is he wanted an abutment right here. So what I did is I designed abutment in the software. Then you go back to the administration page and you click on this little box right here. It's called virtual seat. Then you can virtually seat that particular abutment onto the model. You can always go back and forth and grab that abutment later. So, okay, so now my abutment is virtually seated on the model. Now I'm going to make my roundhouse. So in the administration, I'll go ahead and mark all the teeth. And you can see here and here that it virtually seated my abutment that I did onto the model. Now this will actually, if I think about it now, I can order a model for this from Infiniden as well, instead of, because we can't get implant models right now, but if you go ahead and virtually seat it and export that, or from Infiniden or whoever, print your own, whatever you want to do, then you can have a model for that particular case. All right, so we wanted a roundhouse. You can see I used, this one I just used regular biogeneric. Underneath here you can see is my abutment. I always design everything full contour first, and then I reduce it. What Jörg was showing earlier with the new reduce tool, it's so cool. You just literally hold down the control button and click on each tooth real quick. It takes like 20 seconds. Then on the top right-hand corner, click reduce. Tell it, hey, I want it to reduce by 0.75 millimeters. Click apply, and it reduces the whole bridge real quick. So, I mean, it's super fast and really cool. All right, this one we did, the doctor wanted layer zirconia. So, I don't remember what type of, I think it was a Bruxer disc for this one. Very important when you're spruing up these large cases. You don't want to put too many sprues on the lingual. I only put one here on that molar, here on that molar, and here on number 8 or 9. If you try to put more sprues here, which I learned in the very beginning, is after you center it, the bridge usually cracks in half. So from my experience, and I've never had one ever break, when I have it sprued like this. Also, if you have a sprue on every single one, trying to cut that off when it's in zirconia is a nightmare. So I've broken bridges trying to cut off the sprues before. So just have one here, and one up at top. All right, so I milled this out. Then I milled my abutment out of a meso block from the inLab MCXL. This I milled out of the MCX5. And as you can see, it turned out pretty good. We have new burrs now, which I really love. I love my MCXLs. I mean, I mill all my Emacs all day on those, and I mill everything else on my MCX5. Now we have new burrs for the MCXL and the MCX5. They're called EF burrs. They're 0.6 millimeters in diameter, so they're really small. It doesn't add a lot of extra minutes to the mill, but now I don't have to grind on my Emacs crowns anymore after they come out. It has a lot better anatomy. How it works is you take out the zirconia burrs from your MCXL that are in burr set 1, and then you put these smaller burrs in there. So it uses all 4 burrs to mill the Emacs. My picture didn't come out as good, but this is just a regular MCXL, and then this is with those EF burrs. It looked better on my computer, but you can really tell a difference. Also, as Jörg was talking about earlier, those burrs actually go over the margin as well on the MCXL, so it makes a lot nicer margin. Impression scanning, it's pretty cool. You can come watch it at Derek's breakout session. This was when it first came out. I had a doctor next door who said, hey, I need a rush case. I didn't have time to pour it up. So just scan the impression. It's amazing how clear the impressions are compared to the old way when we used to try to scan the impressions. Has a nice holder. It holds them in place. It'll go ahead and scan the upper, lower, and then scan the bite. So you don't have to have a bite. It just knows as long as the triple tray bite is correct, you're okay. Same thing, positioned on the arch. mill it out, and you don't have to have a model, but like we all do, we'll end up pouring a solid model just to make sure it actually did fit. Import of STL scan data. This is really cool. We've been asking for this for a long time. So far, I've imported whatever they're called. I don't even know what they're called now. E4D, plan scan. Imported one of those fine. Carestream fine. Trios fine. 3Shape fine. Itero fine. So I've been able to import without any issues, at least those, just one case of each, and which is really neat. This is my favorite. I mean, this makes me so happy. This is my favorite part of the software, the screw retain bridges. Literally, it works fairly easy, and I'm just so happy this finally came out, because we've been trying to rig it, doing it all other kinds of ways, but now we actually can do it the proper way. So we have a few options. When we get to the scan phase, we have a new scan body that we're using. It's a cylindrical scan body. It's not the same ones that have the tie base and then the white pyramid on the top. It's different. You still can use those if you're doing just a single unit abutment or something like that. But we also have these scan bodies for screw retain bridges. So with the INEOS X5 scanner, that's what we'll be scanning these with. You only need one. That's all I used, is one particular scan base to scan this model. So let's say you're doing a Nobel BioCare Place Select 4.3. That's the scan post you're going to put in that particular spot. And what you're going to do is, when you get to that point where you scan it, it says Insert Scan Post. You double-click on the scan post. It scans it. Then you unscrew it, put it in the next one. So that way you don't have to have 5 different scan posts for that particular case.
Could you use 5 different scan posts and just scan it one time? Or no?
I've never tried that, because I only had one. So you could load them all up. But on the step, when I was doing it, it said, hey, click on this one, then click on the next one, then click on the next one. So I'm sure you could put them all in and then just do that, so you don't have to take one at a time. But it was easier than I thought. I mean, because you keep the model up on the scanner and just unscrew it, then screw it in the next one and the next one. And it didn't take long to scan at all. All right, so that's what you're going to use to scan. Then right here you have the choice of what you're going to do. Are you going to do an implant level, screw retain bridge, or are you going to use multi-layer abutments? So on this one I used the multi-layer abutments. Go ahead and just design full contour, just like normal. You'll be able to see that you don't have that red dot anymore like you used to have the red dot on the software. Now you can actually see the hole and see what's going on. Then when you get to this point, you can decide, do I want to do a full contour or do I want to reduce it? This one I did a full contour. I made it transparent so you could see on the inside. These are the multi-unit tie bases. What happens is these are screwed into the mouth, and then you mill out your bridge, cement the cap on the inside of your bridge, and then that whole thing screws down to here, and I'll show you a picture of that in a second. Okay, so we're in the mill preview. Go ahead and export it to CAM just like normal. This one, I think is a Bruxer or something like that. Milled it out. It mills out the holes on the top for you. You don't have to fake it and use the circular or all those, how we always faked it before. It just puts the holes where they're supposed to be. So this is the Bruxer bridge milled out. These are the multi-unit abutments from NT Trading Company, or I think you pronounce it Medentica. So all you do is screw this onto the model or into the mouth. These Inserts, you cement into your full contour zirconia. There's a screw hole in here. Okay, so these go on the model, bridge goes on top, and then you go ahead and screw the bridge in. For cement, I think we used Emax hybrid abutment cement or multi-link. But I guess you would just have to, I just use that, I've been using that forever on my cases. This I milled on the MCX5, correct. Yeah, it's because it's 5-axis. I mean, if it's going to mill 1, it might be able to, but if you're milling 5, no, it has to be 5-axis. Any questions on how I got this? Do you guys think that's cool? Yeah. Yeah. I do too. This is my favorite part again. Yes. I've actually never tried in the administration, so I have my laptop here. I'll pull it up later today. I don't even know if that was an option, but I'll go ahead and pull it up and see. Thank you, doctor. Oh, yes. CAD on? Oh, yeah. Now with that virtually seating, I mean, you don't even have to virtually seat it. You can just choose it from the beginning. Yep. And I mean, this is just the very beginning. I mean, I haven't even messed with it. Like, and none of you have even messed with it. Just imagine when you have in your hands and all the virtual seat options that you can do, and there's just going to be a lot of cool stuff.
With the NT training, are we able to use the drivers from the implant companies, or do you need any special driver?
I don't know that answer, but he says you need a special driver. And again, once all this is not even in our hands yet, once it is in our hands, we will have exact specifications on all of that stuff. Right now, I'm just guessing at it. But I'm sure, yeah, most companies will say, hey, use this driver for Nobel BioCare, stuff like that. Yep.
Okay, so you cement the coatings into the bridge.
Correct.
But you cement the coatings to multi,
Nope, there's actually a screw. Okay, so this piece right here screws into the mouth, into the implant. So you'll screw both of these into the implant. So you have 2 of them here with a little dome shaped. Then these 2 pieces that come with this, these 2 pieces, you cement them into the bridge, and you can see they have a hole right there in them. Inside of this screw is another screw hole. So there's a screw hole inside of here that the screw that goes through here screws into that. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty really screwy. Yeah, so it's a screw retain right into that piece. I didn't know how it worked till 2 weeks ago. So. Yeah, this is not intraorally. Today, this is a implant level impression scanned with the INEOS X5 scanner. If you have a multi-unit in the mouth, you can just scan that and rig it. I mean, I can design it, make a hole in the top, but no, you will need to scan it with the proper pieces. Yes.
Does the screw seat in the zirconia, or is it on titanium?
No, this, yeah, so inside of this, imagine a screw hole going down inside of there. So I'm going to screw this first into the implant. Okay, so it's in the implant, and now it looks like an abutment coming off the model. There's a hole right here. See that? So this piece just sits on top of this, just like you drop it on the prep. It's just sitting there. Then a screw goes in the occlusal of this bridge, goes in top, and that screws into this. piece on top of the other screw. The titanium, yeah, the titanium holds the screw. So if you went to torque it down, you're not going to break through the zirconia. You're going to, it has titanium there. Yeah, 100%, correct.
If you see carefully on the sleeve, there is a little stop. You see that little stop?
Oh yeah, right here? Yeah.
That one. So that stops the
Right.
the screw to use the torque.
Yeah. Yes.
What is that system called?
NT Trading Company. N as in Nancy, T as in Tom, I think. NT Trading Company, or there's another one called, I think it's Medentica or Medentica or Medident. I don't remember the pronunciation of that. Can you use the Ineos Blue? I don't think so. Because what it does, but I don't know, I just saw it. Perfect. You can pass it around? Yeah. Okay.
Don't drop it.
Don't. Do not drop this. Actually, what's fun, it's not funny, but right before I left here, I dropped a screw in the lab, and I looked for 30 minutes trying to find that screw. So we're going to pass around the screws and everything like that. Ineos Blue, I don't think you can use that for scanning just because it has to be very accurate to scan screw retain cases. Panavia?
Do those scan bodies fit on other manufacturers' conical abutments? Like, for instance, if you already had a 3-eye conical abutment in the mouth.
You have to buy a different scan body for each manufacturer.
But the scan body is for the analog, not for the movie. Right? Because the scan body that you did was for the implant analog. So you're going
This right here,
yeah, go into the implant analog. It's not going on.
it goes right directly into the implant. So, like if I have a Nobel BioCare, I have to buy the Nobel BioCare one. If I want a Zimmer one, I got to buy the Zimmer one. If I want a Straumann one, I got to buy the Straumann one. But you only need one of each. Was that answering your question?
Yeah.
So let's say someone has the sleeve, the cap, and what all the parts. You can still use it in the saw.
You have to use Sirona's scan post because it's a particular size, and that's what the software is looking for because there's a spot that says click on scan body head, and if that one is not exactly in the software with the right sizes from Sirona, it's going to say no scan body found, and it won't pick it up. Unless they happen to be the same size, which would be cool, but I don't think that's how it is.
Do you need one for every size platform of Zimmer, or just one for Zimmer?
It depends. For Zimmer, are all the screws the same size or different? Different? Then I would assume one for each size. So for Zimmer, you would need 3.
Now, question for you. How easy is it, like, to file the scan?
How easy? A Connect file? I don't think you can do it with a Connect file. Singles, yeah. I'll need an impression. Yeah, so I can pour up the model, yeah. So again, this is not just for 300 bridges. Can also do roundhouse, all on 4s. Same thing, just in the administration. I chose these 4 as my abutments. This particular case took me 3 minutes to design. Like this was at the very end of the day. I wanted to see if I could actually do it. And it was luck that just everything worked out. I used the morphology and the BioJaw to get my design. And again, you don't have to do it full contour. This one I am going to do full contour, but I wanted to see how it looked if I reduced it. So you can reduce it if you're going to do a PFM or titanium, whatever you want.
Does it have an option for you to also do the tutorial portion?
Yep. For this particular case, I did not get to do that, but in the administration phase, there, and if you go to Sean's course. I think he talked about that too. In the administration, you can choose gingiva. So you'll actually be able to design, like Jörg showed that picture of the pink on the bottom earlier. You'll be able to design the tissue as well. For this particular one, I did not have time to do that, but I did not mill this out yet, so I was going to go back and do that as well. But it's pretty cool because you can reduce everything or just reduce some of them, depending on whatever you want. And, you know, mill it out of any material or send it off to have done. Any questions on that, on implant cases? One of these actually was not ideal. It was way off, and it gave me an error. It said, hey, this particular implant is past a certain degree or something like that. I got that error, and it said, do you still want to proceed or not? So it let me proceed, even though one of them was pretty far off. And again, I haven't milled this one out yet, so I don't know if it fits or not. Change the angle of the implant? No, it is what it is. I mean, because you're going to put them in however that implant was in the mouth. Right. Well, I guess when you're changing the insertion axis, yeah, I mean, you could tweak it, but I haven't got that far into it, so I'm not positive. Correct. That conical shape from the NT Trading Company multi-unit abutment is made for not being things being parallel. So I don't know. I'm not positive of that. But we'll find out that answer for you. I just don't know.
What are you milling this out? What are you planning to mill out?
Zirconia.
Solid.
Yep. I just reduced it just to see if I could, because this was like my second one that I did, and just wanted to see what it looked like when it reduced. But I'll mill it up full zirconia and maybe cut back the faces or something like that.
Is there a feature on the software that allows you to protect case?
Allows you to do what?
Individual crown on whatever bridge?
I'm sure. I just haven't got that far. That's what I was saying with the virtual seat and things like that. I'm thinking I could reduce this right here. Just reduce it partially, all 6 of them, instead of reducing them full. And then it'll reduce from the top like a prep. Then I'll virtually seat it. And then design 6 through 11 Emax crowns if you wanted to. And then you could just cement them on the top. I saw Trey had a picture of one that he did something like that, which made me think of that idea. So, but you can do whatever you want. You just got to figure out how to make it work. Oh no, it puts it wherever that implant is. I was playing with another one. It put it right through the connector. Yep. Just depends where the implant is. It automatically made those screw holes from the axis of the implant. Yep. I didn't do anything. It just put those holes right there. Any other questions? My favorite puck, what material? Well, huh?
What's your favorite zirconia part?
Zirconium, my favorite is Bruxer. My favorite wax is Harvest. My favorite temporary is Harvest. You could use it on a single, but then it would probably spin around maybe. So they're usually multi-unit is just for if you want a bridge, because then it doesn't matter that part. Well, when I pulled up, I was wondering that too. Yeah, when I pulled it up, it listed all of the ones that we have now for the tie bases. I'm not positive it's every single one, but I think it was the majority. And I actually cropped that picture so there's more going out that way than that.
Yeah, you have the standing post and the ones that, those the ones that are available from main restaurant or that restaurant, what brand is that?
NT Trading Company? Yes.
Is there any kind of something added to it? You can add it to catalog or?
Well, today, these are them. But I mean,
But the idea is that people might come out and download.
oh, yeah. Once they are tested and everything like that. Yes?
We have interfaces from NT Trading and also Data. So they're both NT Trading is streamlined the way, so you can talk to them about what range they cover. The Data might cover some implant systems that NT Trading might not necessarily cover. But conceptually, they're both the same company. You have to order those through Patterson?
Do you have to order those through Patterson?
Yes.
Yes.
So with the new software, will we still be able to use the old scan bodies in the top?
Oh, yeah.
Everything's parallel?
Yep, you just don't choose that one, choose tie base.
And the old,
Yep. And then if you want one that's all one piece into the implant, I don't have a picture of it yet, but then you choose the middle one. And what that will do is that will have the bottom part that goes into the implant, but you can't mill that yourself. That you have to send to those big milling places. Yeah, you still use the new scan body. But I designed that, that big one this way just to try it, and it has all the I don't even know what that's called, the interface that goes into the implant, but you can't mill that without having, you know, all those special milling machines and things like that.
If you decide to use the one in the middle, going straight to the implant, and you're going to,
And they better be parallel too.
if you're going to send it out, then you can still make like maybe a chrome cobalt kind of framework too.
Yeah, you can, if you send it as an STL, you can make it whatever you want.
You can design it like if and then set it
Oh, yeah.
like a chrome cobalt.
Yeah, because on this one right here, I kind of did that, and I had the 4 pieces coming out before I went ahead and designed it this way.
So if I design it that way and I decide to do like cut back and do porcelain or do individual image crowns over this,
Yeah.
you can send it out to a center that can build that.
Yeah, they'll mill the titanium, and then you mill the top parts. Yep. Any other questions? Yes.
What we have right now is the X5 scanner, then CXL, and we get
Get the new 15 software.
we just may not be able to do
They want to know they have the INEOS X5 scanner and the MCXL. They want to know if they can get the inLab 15 software. Yes.
we have to have the X5 moving to get the
And then depending on your output method, you can more or less, like based on STL, you can use it.
Yes, you'll be able to use the inLab 15, but you can't do mill out a bridge like that if you don't have the MCX5. Yep. Yeah. Or whoever, yeah. Not to me. I don't work for labs. Yep. Question? Uh-huh. That was the MCX5. Someone else asked that question. I didn't try to see if I could mill it in the MCXL or not. It depends on the axis of the implant. If it's beyond the degree, like if it's beyond the degree of tilt, then the MCXL is 4-axis. It might not be able to get to that. But that question, I don't know the answer until I actually try it and see.
That
Out of time? This is my last slide. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.